K-Rugs, the sober dog, coming at ya. Help me get more Sober Dogs content out there. Hit that like, that subscribe, share it, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Really appreciate it. Today's video is about speedballing. As always, I do not condone any drug use. Sober Dogs does not condone drug use. We're all about recovery and giving accurate and honest information about addiction out there. That's why I do videos like this. The more info people have, the more they know what to look for. Today's video, speedballs. What is a speedball? Powerball? Why do people do them? Let's get right into it. Speedball. Speedball, sometimes called a Powerball, is when people, drug users, drug addicts, mix a very powerful stimulant with a very powerful depressant, an upper with a downer. Most notably, cocaine and heroin. Can also be cocaine and morphine, cocaine and, oxycodone, oxycontin. Could be meth and heroin, meth and oxy. Any of those, different mixtures. Why do people do these? Well, the theory is, and from somebody who's used a ton of speedballs, I got to a point where I wouldn't even do heroin without the cocaine or cocaine without the heroin. I had to have them both. I would sit there and be sick if I didn't have one or the other and wait for it. But we do them because we want the effect of both drugs, and the science or the myth behind the science is that by doing both at the same time, it'll negate the negative effects of the other. So if I'm doing heroin and cocaine together, when I do just heroin, it makes people, kind of tired, drowsy, you get the nod outs, slows down the breathing, a general down effect, a kind of relax effect. When you do cocaine or meth or these uppers, it's the opposite. Increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased stimulation, kind of wired all over. So the theory is if we do them together, I'll get the high of the heroin and the cocaine will keep me awake so I don't, just nod out, and the heroin will negate the paranoia-ish effects of the cocaine and I won't be too wired. The problem is, to get this equal mix never happens. It always ends up going one way or the other. Now, uppers, what could be classified as an upper? Because a lot of people, myself included, always just assume that a speedball was heroin and cocaine. Not necessarily. It could be any upper and any downer, So a very common speedball that many people don't even know they're using on, a daily basis, Red Bull and vodka, or Red Bull and alcohol, energy drink and alcohol. That alcohol slows down our system. Alcohol is a depressant. A lot of people think it's a stimulus because it gets us kind of loose and a little bit pumped up for a little while, but it is a depressant. And, the energy drink is a stimulant, so that's got our heart going, and the alcohol brings it down. And any combination of upper and downer can technically be a speedball. Your uppers, you got anything like meth, cocaine, amphetamine salts, which is like Adderall, Ritalin. Well, I don't think Ritalin's classified as an amphetamine salt, but Adderall, Ritalin is still an upper stimulant. You got MDMA, ecstasy, you got benzene, you got ephedrine, pseudoephedrine, caffeine, nicotine. These are all stimulants. They're going to increase your heart rate, increase blood pressure. They're going to, wake you up, get you more focused and whatever, jittery. Downers, your main ones, you got heroin, you got alcohol, you got marijuana, you got oxycontin, oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine, All the things that fit into that subcategory, the Vicodins, the Percocet, all that type of stuff. Benzos are a big one. Benzodiazepines, Xanax, Valium, Ativan, Klonopin. I know a ton of people, myself included, who always had to take benzos with other drugs because it increased the effect. Any barbiturate, any downer, like sleeping pills, muscle relaxers, all those are downers. So to be technical, taking any of these combination of uppers and downers is a speedball. Some more dangerous than others. A Red Bull and vodka, a single one is most likely not as dangerous, and I don't have the science behind it, but I'm assuming not as dangerous as injecting heroin and cocaine together. But what ends up happening is an effect called drug synergy. What drug synergy means is, we all think of 1 + 1 = 2. So I'll do heroin, I'll do cocaine, I'll get the high of each, and the negatives will cross each other out. That doesn't always happen. With drug synergy, 1 + 1 can equal 3, meaning the effects of the cocaine and the effects of the heroin hitting each other in our bodies at the same time boost the effects of the other one beyond the normal 1 + 1 = 2. What this can cause is, for obvious reasons, a lot of danger. People end up doing more, than they think they can use. If I could normally do 4 bags of heroin, but now I'm mixing it with cocaine, and the cocaine kind of, negates some of the effects for a little bit, or at least maybe not actually negate them, but I don't feel them right away or don't notice them, I think I could do more. But my body's still trying to metabolize 4 bags of heroin or, and the cocaine. Also, some of the dangers, when we put all this in our body, it's this push-pull effect. Our bodies are competing. The heroin is telling my body to slow down, relax, lower the blood pressure, get kind of drowsy, kind of a come down. The cocaine is saying the complete opposite. Heart rate up, blood pressure up, body temperature up, everything up, and your body doesn't know what to do. And this can throw it off big time. Speedballing is a very easy way to have a heart attack, a stroke, an aneurysm, or respiratory failure. What ends up happening is people use heroin and cocaine, and it's like a delayed overdose. Because, I did enough heroin to overdose, but the cocaine kind of keeps it at bay for a couple minutes. But then when so maybe if I'm with people, they're watching me and they're like, oh, he just did he's fine. But then the cocaine wears off, let's say after 10, 12, 15 minutes, and I nod out, and maybe my friends think, okay, he's just, coming down. Because most people overdose right away if they're injecting, or pretty soon after they inject. People might just think you're in that nod out state, but really you're overdosing because the full effects are now in your body. The cocaine stopped kind of negating or delaying the effects of the heroin. This can be extremely dangerous. A lot of famous people have died from speedballs. Chris Farley, John Belushi, River Phoenix. There's a lot that I just can't think off the top of my head. But there's a bunch. I got a video on celebrities who have died from addiction, and there's a lot in there. Speedballing in general is extremely dangerous. You don't want to do it when, I can attest from doing it thousands of times. To say that the cocaine is going to offset the heroin, or the meth's going to offset the heroin or oxy, the amount that it actually offsets is so minimal compared to what you're going for that it always ends up becoming, okay, I just did a speedball. I'm either too wired or I'm too down because one of them took over the other. And now I end up doing more of the opposite to try to reach that high I want, and it never works. I do 3 bags of coke and 3 bags of heroin together. and the coke was stronger, so I'm still a little wired. So I do more heroin to try to equal it out, and then that's too much, and I end up going out. One example that, like we were talking about the Red Bull and vodka, a lot of people can probably relate to is that energy drink and alcohol. I know I personally have a lot of times, and I've seen people at college were mixing energy drinks and alcohol, and somebody might seem a lot straighter, a lot more sober than they actually are. There's a certain individual that I went to college with, and this person loved energy drinks and alcohol, and you'd see him and you'd say, oh, he's fine, he hasn't had that many. And the next morning we'd wake up and talk to him, and he was in a blackout the whole time because the energy drinks gave him enough of a little boost to where he seemed to know what was going on, but really the alcohol was taking over internally, and he was so drunk he didn't know what he did. This can happen a lot, and also is very dangerous for driving. I've done this a couple times, and I know a lot of people who have those energy drinks and alcohol, and then, hey, I'm not that messed up, I could drive, but I have 8 or 9 drinks in my body that I only feel like I had 4 or 5 because of the energy drinks, and I'm a lot more messed up than I actually think. Now the energy drinks come down, the effects go away, and the alcohol effects start to really kick in or noticeably come out, and I'm in the middle of driving and whoa. So speedballing is very dangerous. Please do not do it. Do not recommend it. Make sure please don't use drugs. Drugs are just bad. Speedballing does not equal the high you want it to be. All right, K-Rugs, I'm out. See ya.